My child, hear me clearly, for these words are not from any human, nor are they the result of passing thoughts. They come straight from my eternal heart. You who have walked down uncertain paths, you who, at times, look up to the sky and wonder if I am still there, if I still see you, if I still hear the sighs you whisper in the quiet of the night. Today I speak to you with a voice that is clear, direct, and filled with certainty. If you are not prepared, you will be lost. I do not speak this to cause fear, but to awaken you to the truth that brings freedom. I do not speak with harsh judgment, but with the tenderness of a father who deeply desires that his child is not found unprepared when the moment of reckoning comes. For too long, you have relied on things that fade, leaning on structures that are unstable, holding on to powers that do not come from me. You have gathered many words, promises, and dreams, but your heart has often been distant. You have surrounded yourself with the noise of the world, chasing after goals and concerns that are fleeting, and amidst it all, my voice has been a distant echo, barely audible to you. But no longer will this be the case. Today, I do not speak in symbols or gentle whispers. Today, I speak with the voice of justice because time is running out, and my mercy now calls for action. Understand this clearly. You were never meant to be just another face in the crowd. I created you with purpose, with divine intention, even before your days began. I have seen your steps and prepared a path for you to walk, but you have strayed from that path. You have not sought my presence with the entirety of your being. You have offered me mere fragments of your time, attention, and faith, even though I have given you all of myself. You have lived as though your soul is not at risk, as if eternity is not a reality that is quickly drawing near. But I, who know the beginning and the end, am telling you today that things are about to change. The very structures of this world will collapse, the systems you rely on will fail, and those who are not rooted in me will be shaken to their core. And you, my child, if you are not grounded in my truth, you too will be swept away. That is why I speak to you now, why I reveal to you what is coming. I love you more than you realize, and do not want you to perish in the coming darkness. I do not want you to be caught off guard, unaware and unprepared. My voice is not that of a distant judge, but the voice of your Father calling you from the door, just before it closes. Listen to me with the ears of your soul, not just your body. Quiet the noise of your thoughts, silence the many voices that clamor for your attention, and stand still before me. I do not speak in riddles or shadows, but with the light that dispels all falsehoods. I speak with the voice that formed you, the voice that knew you even before you were conceived. I speak from eternity, and my word will not return void. I call you by name, not to expose your faults, but to bring you into true life. I have waited for you, knocked on the door of your heart time and time again, and though you have made me wait, I am still here not out of obligation, but out of love. But understand this, the time of waiting is coming to a close. You can no longer live as if this world is your permanent home. You can no longer continue to rely on your intellect, your plans, or your strength. What is coming upon the earth will require a faith that is unshakable, roots that run deep, and obedience that is unwavering. You have ignored the signs. You have disregarded the warnings. You have said, "Tomorrow I will seek the Lord," but your tomorrows have been filled with distractions, and I have been pushed aside. Even so, I have not distanced myself from you. I have spoken with patience and tenderness, but now I speak with fire not to destroy you, but to purify you, to burn away the parts of you that do not belong to me. True love does not allow falsehood to take root. It does not permit you to live in deception. My child, I love you too deeply to let you sleep in the midst of the coming fire. That is why I bring my sword, not a physical sword, but the living sword of my word, which cuts deep into your being, revealing what you have hidden, even from yourself. And you ask, "Why now, Lord? Why this stern message?" Because I see what you cannot. I see the days ahead, the dangers that loom, the traps that are already being laid to ensnare many. I witness the relentless advance of darkness, and I cannot remain silent while you, unknowingly, march toward the edge. I will not allow you to be swept away by the storm without first warning you. That is why I speak to you with urgency today, because you still have the chance to prepare, to respond. But listen closely, do not dismiss this call. Do not harden your heart, thinking that there is still more time. Stay here, reflect deeply, because if you move forward without taking these words to heart, this could very well be your last opportunity. My child, you do not yet grasp the full weight of what is at stake. This is not simply a correction or a fleeting punishment. This is a profound transformation, a spiritual surgery I have determined to carry out in you because I love you. I am not an absent father who watches danger approach and stays silent. I am the Lord, your God, the one who shapes you, calls you, and awakens you with conviction when the sleep of this world has numbed your spirit. I speak to you now, not with a trembling voice, but with a voice that echoes in the heavens, that shakes mountains, that parts seas, that causes the earth to tremble. That is why I call you now to prepare. That is why I declare that only what cannot enter my kingdom will be eliminated. Only that part of you, what cannot endure the fire of my holiness, will not survive. This is not the end of your life, but the end of your false life. It marks the beginning of your true existence in me. The idols must fall, my daughter. The masks must burn away. The hidden sins, the ones you've concealed even from yourself, must be revealed and put to death. The pride you've nourished, disguised as strength, must be humbled. The fear that has governed your choices and limitations must be submerged in faith. I am not here to destroy you, but to set you free. Yet, liberation never comes without surrender. You cannot hold onto both your chains and your crown. One must fall. Do not resist, my child. You have resisted long enough. You have fought against me with thoughts, justifications, and excuses. You have mistaken my silence for abandonment, but it was never so. The pain you felt was not proof of my absence. It was the friction of my hand guiding you, turning your face toward me. That silence you thought was a sign of me leaving was actually the space I gave you to choose me freely, without compulsion, without pressure. But now, I will not remain silent. Now I come with a holy roar. Now I shake both the heavens and the earth. Now I separate the wheat from the chaff. And now I bring clarity where confusion once held sway. You are not yet prepared for what lies ahead, and I say this with a heavy heart, as a father who loves you deeply, but with the certainty of one who sees the future clearly. You have made preparations for your body, but your soul remains unprepared. You have built strong walls to protect yourself in the natural world, but you have neglected the walls of your spirit. You have gathered resources to weather the physical storms, yet you have ignored the storm that is coming in the spirit, a storm that will not harm those who stand firm in me, but will sweep away those who trust in their own strength. I gave you time. I spoke to you in dreams that stirred your heart. I moved in the silence, in songs, in scriptures, in the words of those around you, but you did not recognize me. Still, I am not here to condemn you. I am here to bring you the truth, and in that truth, there is mercy, and in mercy, there is power. You were not created for comfort, you were made for the fire. You were not formed for human security, you were formed for divine holiness. You were not born for mediocrity, you were born for glory in me. But hear me clearly, that glory will cost you everything. Do you think you can reach it without walking through your own Gethsemane? My son did not ascend without first carrying the cross. Why then do you think you can avoid yours? The purification of your soul comes through detachment from the temporary, so you may carry the eternal. It is the separation from the false so you can fully embrace the true. When you walk through the fire I am sending you, know that you will not walk alone. I will walk with you, just as I was with the three in the furnace of Babylon. But like them, you too must refuse to bow to the idols of this world, not only the external idols but the idols of self, success, control, and pleasure. I am about to remove the scaffolding that has supported you, because it is unstable. If I do not remove it, you will fall with it. I do not uphold that which was not built by my hand. I will not protect structures that were raised in fear, ambition, or rebellion. I will only protect what is rooted in my will, my word, and my truth. The removal that is coming is sacred, holy. Do not fear it, but do not ignore it either. Prepare yourself, for very soon I will begin to remove all that was not planted by my hand. And then you will see that it was not destruction, but mercy. It was not loss, but redemption. It was not judgment without purpose, but love in its purest and most powerful form. You have wandered for a long time without fully understanding what surrounds you. You became accustomed to an environment not shaped by me, to a life that does not beat in rhythm with my spirit. You adapted to a world in open rebellion against its creator. You settled for scraps when I had prepared a grand feast for you. Yet, even then my compassion never faltered, because I know the structure of your heart. I know how fragile the soul becomes when it is nourished with lies. But the time of patience is drawing to a close. A day is coming closer than you realize when the light of my presence will expose what once seemed stable, reveal what was hidden in darkness, and burn away what appeared valuable but had no eternal substance. I am not interested in superficial acts of piety without transformation. I do not seek rehearsed words, melodious songs, or promises forgotten by morning. I look into the deepest parts of your being, and what I see pains me, because it does not reflect the seed I planted in you. You have placed your trust in broken relationships, unjust systems, and polluted visions. You sought approval in places where there was only deceit, and so your discernment became clouded, not because I remained silent, but because you closed your ears to my voice amidst the overwhelming noise of the world. I spoke to you in the quiet, but still, that silence unsettled you. I spoke to correct you, but you preferred praise. I showed you signs in the unseen, but your heart longed for the tangible, the immediate, the comfortable. Amor. A holy exposure is coming, a light that casts no shadow, a season in which the double-minded, the twisted motives, and alliances with the impure will no longer remain concealed. What you once kept hidden in secret will be exposed as the chains they truly were. What seemed acceptable in the eyes of man will be laid bare before the truth I establish. I will not permit you to continue wearing stained garments, pretending to represent a kingdom of purity, fire, justice, and power. There is a cost to bearing my name, and it is not just in words, it is in blood, in complete surrender, and in the daily rejection of what defiles. This is why I now release a word that will shake your very foundations. Yes, there will be elimination, but not in the way you fear. Everything that did not begin in my spirit will be cast aside, the relationships you thought were love, the practices you defended as freedom but were corruption, the ideas you embraced as progressive that were, in truth, deviations from eternal truth. What will be eliminated is that which cannot enter my kingdom, not because of a capricious will, but because my kingdom is pure light without shadow, and anything that holds darkness will be consumed when I try to bring it close. How can I, being a consuming fire, receive what resists purification? This is the end of the illusion, not the end of the truth. It is the closing of a chapter based on appearances, making way for a season of authenticity. There are things you cannot bring with you to the place I want to lead you. You cannot carry your own definitions of justice, love, and holiness. You must receive mine, and that requires letting go of what you have built with your own hands, even if done with good intentions. For only what is born of my spirit will endure. Now begins the crucible, the pressure that does not crush, but transforms. However, not all will withstand it. Not all will be able to face the fall of their personal towers, to witness their carefully laid plans dissolve like vapor. To many, this will seem like punishment, but it will be nothing less than a necessary surgery. The old must die for the new to rise. The flesh must be crucified so the spirit can have room to breathe. I am not moved by anxiety. I do not act out of haste or pressure. My justice is never delayed, and my love is never blind. I do what is required at the appointed time, and this is the time. This is the moment to uproot, to overturn the tables of the temple, to bring down what is false in order to establish what is true. Not out of vengeance, but out of mercy. Not to humiliate, but to purify. Not to reject, but to redeem. However, this redemption will not come through gentle words or sweet promises. It will come through a sword, through fire, through absolute truth. The time of lukewarmness is over. Now it is a choice between white or black, light or darkness, life or death. I am about to dismantle everything that was built without an eternal foundation. Every argument raised against my truth, every justification that stood in opposition to my design, every tower that seemed unshakable but will not endure the test of time will be brought down. A burning day is coming, like an oven, and on that day, only what was built in me will stand. So prepare yourself to lose what you thought was your strength, for in losing it, you will gain what truly saves. The peace you've created with your own hands, the sense of control you've built upon routine and knowledge, all of that is about to be unsettled. Not because I wish to disrupt you, but because your stability hath been anchored on unstable ground. And when the earth shakes, and it will, I do not want you to fall with what has no foundation in truth. That is why I am beginning to remove what lies deep within you. This will not be superficial, nor will it be external. It will go to the core of the foundations, the motivations, the affections, the secret pacts you made with your own ideas, and the desires you never submitted to me. Your understanding has been limited, shaped by the lenses you created through your experiences, wounds, and ambitions. But the time for living according to your own interpretations is coming to an end. I am raising a standard that does not rely on your opinions, preferences, or expectations. I am unveiling the original design, the one that existed before you were born, the one not written in ink but etched upon your spirit with eternity itself. This design will not align with your comfort, but it will align with your true purpose. And in order for you to walk in it, you must let go of what you've tolerated, justified, and painted to appear spiritual, when in truth, it was selfishness disguised. This is not about reforming your life. It is about a complete replacement. The old cannot be repaired. A new wine cannot be poured into old wineskins. I am bringing new wine, higher revelation, deeper communion, a holiness that is not superficial, but incarnate. I will not pour it into structures that crack under the slightest pressure. I am making all things new, but this does not mean holding on to mixtures. What is mixed will be rejected. What is incomplete will be cut off, not because I desire human perfection, but because I demand total surrender. The divided cannot be of use in my hands. What you once accepted in yourself, with your excuses of cheap grace, will now be confronted with the reality of the cross. I am not referring to carrying symbols or repeating empty phrases. I mean truly dying to everything that opposes my character. You cannot continue moving toward the eternal while still carrying the remnants of the earthly. And I don't just mean physical remnants, but the habits, thoughts, desires, and priorities that bind you to a version of yourself that was formed outside of my will. That version must be left behind. The identity shaped by your wounds, rejections, and foreign ambitions must be silenced. What I created in you longs for freedom, but it cannot breathe under the weight of what you chose to hold on to. The spirit of this age has presented you with many options, countless paths, and ways to appear spiritually deep without undergoing true transformation, and unknowingly, you accepted parts of that system. You baptized it with spiritual words, wrapped it in religiosity, but deep inside, it was hollow. I no longer desire that emptiness. I no longer want you to wear masks or go through routines that don't include me. I no longer want prayers that don't seek me, services that don't glorify me. I am cleansing my altar. I am igniting a fire in the secret place, and where there is wet wood, there will be smoke, there will be cracking, and there will be pain. But after that, there will be a living flame. What is coming is not for entertainment, nor will it inspire you momentarily. It will mark your life. I am not seeking emotional reactions, but eternal decisions. This hour is not for the lukewarm or for the doubters. It is for those who decide that nothing is more valuable than my presence, because what I will give to those who endure this purification will not be insignificant. I will open doors you have never imagined. I will show you things that are invisible to human eyes. I will make you a bearer of glory, a weight of glory that only those who have been stripped of everything else can carry. But if you desire that weight, you must first empty yourself, and that emptying will not be comfortable. It will not be at your own pace. I will do it myself, because your time is running out. Seasons change, and you cannot enter the new era with the tools of the past. The methods that once worked will no longer be effective. The structures that once appeared strong will become obsolete. I do not conform to your mold. You must break yours, for only those who have lost everything for the sake of the kingdom will be worthy to represent it. So, observe carefully what I am removing from your life. Do not mourn it or cry as though it's a senseless loss. It is my hand at work, not your failure. It is my intervention, not your punishment. Although it hurts, I am preparing a space within you that can only be filled by my spirit, and that space must be kept clean, free from idols, duplicity, and distractions. There I will dwell, there I will speak, there I will rule. And when that happens, you will no longer be who you once were. You will be what I originally dreamed for you. The version of you that was eliminated will only be a shadow of the person I, in my faithfulness, have come to restore. I have been watching the paths you've taken, the detours you believed were shortcuts, and the places where you stopped when you should have kept moving forward. I am not surprised by the mistakes you've made, but I will not overlook them either. A time for unclear, imprecise steps is drawing to a close. What I allowed in the past, what I tolerated during your immaturity, will no longer be excused. Not because my character has changed, but because I am now calling you to a higher level, to a place where only the refined can ascend. The cycle of manipulating circumstances according to your own will is over. This time, I will move everything. I will disturb what you ordered to fit your preferences. I will reshape what you built without proper direction. I will close paths you believe it to be secure, and I will open new ways that you never even considered. This is not because I want to confuse you, but because I desire for you to walk by faith, not by sight. I want you to stop planning with human logic and start obeying with spiritual insight. Everything that has not been born from obedience, no matter how successful it seemed for a season, is destined to collapse. The walls you erected to protect yourself, but which also kept you isolated, will be torn down. What you thought was security was actually fear disguised. You hid behind your habits, your structures, and the image you meticulously crafted. But in that image, there was no true life, only repetition, only survival. I did not come to preserve what you built with shaky hands. I came to establish what I envisioned for you before time began, and that involves removing everything that has taken up space that belongs to me, everything you have elevated above my will, everything you have defended, even when deep down, you knew it did not carry my seal. It is not about outward behaviors, but about the true intentions behind them, because many have learned how to speak the right words while thinking the opposite, how to appear committed while being full of internal reservations. This double life, this inner duplicity, will not pass to the next level. I am bringing to light the hidden, not to create a spectacle, but as an act of mercy. Darkness thrives in secrecy, but it disintegrates when exposed to the truth, and I am truth. Where I reside, the false cannot remain. I am raising an altar in the midst of chaos. It is not a physical altar, not a platform, not an institution. It is a living, dynamic, holy altar, an altar that burns within those who have said yes unconditionally. For this to happen, the fire that tests, purifies, and reveals must first come. The fire that does not destroy the surrendered, but consumes everything that resists. That fire is descending now, and it will not be stopped by empty prayers or religious rituals. It cannot be calmed by meetings or appeased by emotion. It will only be honored through obedience. It will only be reciprocated through total surrender. Some will feel as though they are losing control, but in truth, it will be an opportunity to allow me to take control. Others will experience unexpected losses, broken relationships, fading opportunities. But behind every loss there will be redirection. I do not take away without purpose, and I do not close doors without providing keys to open higher ones. But you cannot move forward if you are holding on to what no longer carries my blessing. Some relationships must be severed, not because they are inherently bad, but because they no longer serve their intended purpose. Some positions must be abandoned because the grace that once sustained them hath been removed. I am God, not a tradition. I act according to purpose, not by sentimentality. In the coming days, I will make it clear what is mine and what is not. There will be no more confusion. There will be a spiritual divide, not between individuals but between systems. Between what serves my kingdom and what serves only human interests. Between what was built on the rock and what was built on the shifting sand. I will do this with precision, without error, without omission, because I see the heart and do not follow appearances. Where I see mixture, I will bring clarity. Where I see dilution, I will bring focus. Where there hath been tolerance for error, I will bring a confrontation with the truth. Though you may not fully grasp what is unfolding, trust in what I am doing, because it is not your understanding that will save you, but your surrender. It is not your ability to explain what lies ahead, but your willingness to release what must be let go of. What is coming is not a simple shift, it is an irreversible transformation. What is at stake is not merely the end of one season and the beginning of another. It is your alignment with the eternal design I have set in place. That is why this process is intense, and that is why the elimination is necessary. I am not asking you to improve upon what you already know. I am calling you to allow it to die, so that something new can rise in its place, something born with power, truth, and my glory.